Hey everyone, VVVRef here, bringing you a very small tutorial on how to use hotkeys for beginners. Um, it's it's not too hard to get used to hotkeys, but hotkeys are very important for when you're actually playing on the ladder, especially if you want to play at a higher level or at a pro level. Um, Players who don't use hotkeys normally end up in the Bronze League, and I know everybody out there is always looking to improve, trying to get their game up, and are wanting to learn how to get better at StarCraft. And there are some very, very simple techniques to learn when playing in StarCraft. So I'm going to show you some very simple things as a Terran player that you can use when using hotkeys. Now, one of the biggest things that you're going to do when you first start off playing is you're going to highlight your SCVs, and you're going to immediately get them to start working. And you can always split your SCVs off depending on how fast you are. So if I do that, I can split my SCVs off. Now, your command center will actually rally to a mineral line. This is probably one of the very basic things that anybody's going to learn. So all you have to do is click on your command center and right-click, and then you'll have SCVs immediately start mining in their mineral line. Now, in order to produce SCVs, you're going to hit S on the command center. Now, the very first thing you're going to want to do is start to set your buildings into control groups. And by doing this, you're going to hit Control and then a specific number on your keyboard. I'm going to use 3 here because that's how I like to play. A lot of pro gamers like to use 5 for their command center, so keep that in mind if you're interested and you want a lot more army control groups. You're going to want to set your buildings on 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 when you start playing. But I like to put mine on 3, so I'm going to keep it on 3 for now. And I'm just going to basically show you what to do. So when you click on your SCVs, you can left click and highlight them all, and this will get them all in a control group, as you can see here. But then if I hit 3, it'll bring up my command center because I hotkeyed it. So this actually saves you time if you want to do that back and forth, right? And you'll notice a lot of pro gamers will do this in the beginning of their match. They'll spam their hotkeys, and then they'll come back to their command center and do that, and do that, and do that again. So, you know, it kind of gets them used to hotkey play in the beginning, especially when they're first getting in on the ladder or starting to play their game. So by doing this, you're able to constantly produce SCVs and go back and forth to your command center without really worrying. Or you can just casually let it sit, but I highly suggest kind of playing around with your mouse, kind of getting used to the feel of using hotkeys right away. So one of the biggest things that are really going to get you used to hotkeys is jumping between 2 hotkeys. And the easiest way to do this is your very first worker, your SCV, you want to go ahead and hotkey it on your army control group. So you're going to have control, you're going to hit control and then 1 to put your SCV in that control group. So here, you're going to go ahead and just right-click, move your SCV, and then if you hit BS, you can start building your supply depot. And as soon as that supply depot finishes, you can actually give the SCV some more commands, kind of like moving like this if you want to, in a little swirly line. And this will actually make the SCV move like this, if you hit Shift and then right-click. But what most people will do is they'll just Shift and right-click on their mineral line, so that the SCV goes right back to the mineral line, as you can see here. So the SCV goes right back to the mineral line and starts mining again. And it actually saves you time in the game. That way you don't have to manually click yourself. So here, if I'm going to take this SCV, something that you want to do is jump between your control groups. So if I hit 1-1, it's going to bring my SCV up. If I hit 3-3, which is what I have my command center on, or if you guys want to, if you're going to put your command center on 5, you can just go 3-3 or 5-5, and you'll jump back to your command center. So if you constantly do this back and forth, 1-1, 3-3, 1-1, 3-3, you notice that it kind of speeds things up, and you can see a little more of what's going on. So if you're going to build with this SCV a little further away from your base, this is very useful for when you're doing this. So I'm actually going to step it up and build a barracks by hitting BB, because that's how you can build a barracks with your SCV. So if you build your barracks, you can then hotkey your barracks as well on a control group. I'm going to use 2 for this. So right now I have 3 control groups. I have my barracks, my command center, and my SCV, and then my barracks, right? So the easiest thing that you can do to get used to hotkeys is kind of jump back and forth between them. So as you can see here, I'm jumping to my command center by hitting 3-3. I'm hitting 1-1, going back to my SCV, hitting 2-2, hitting my barracks, and going back to 3-3 on my command center. And by doing this simple rotation, getting used to using hotkeys, you can see a lot more that's going on. You can kind of spam and see what's going on faster. So I'm going to move my SCV away over here, and you'll notice the big difference of what's going on. So this is how pro players play. They kind of just jump between a lot of units rapidly and can determine what's going on a lot faster. So here I'm going to go ahead and build my orbital by hitting B. And then I'm going to build another supply depot by hitting BS. Now I'm going to go to my barracks and hit A. So I'm going to go back and forth. I'm just going to kind of speed things up like that. Give other commands. And just basically use what I've told you. By using hit shift on the mineral line when you're building something. Build more barracks. Build more barracks. And build more barracks. And kind of get used to what those hotkeys are for each construction building. Now, here's a hotkey that a lot of people have a hard time with. Now, in order to get all of your, let's say you have factories in your base or starports, but you specifically want to solely focus on primarily bio units. Then you're going to want to make more barracks over factories and starports. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click on your barracks and it'll actually highlight all your barracks. And then if you hit shift and then 2 or whatever your hotkey is for your barracks, it'll put all those barracks in one hotkey. So then if you want to set a different rally point, if you hit right click, it'll actually set the rally point for all of those barracks at once. So this actually keeps all your units grouped up. And so you're able to jump back and forth between units. So I'm just going to keep doing this, kind of jump back and forth, and I'm going to make these Marines my new hotkey group. So now they're on 1, and then I have my barracks, and then I'm hitting 3. So then if I want to produce more Marines, if I hit 1 Marine, it's going to highlight 1 barracks. But if you have 4 barracks and you hit AAA, you actually get a lot more Marines producing. So this is how you can kind of get used to hotkeys. And then you can hit S when you get back to your command center. So I'm just going to simply move my Marines out and control them, while constantly going back to my barracks and my command center to build Marines and to build more SCVs. So I'm just going to control these 2 Marines. I'm going to have them go out on a little mission. I'm going to go back to my barracks, hit AA, hit S on my command center, and just keep going back and forth like this. Kind of getting used to those hotkeys. And by doing this, you can actually see when units are going to be produced. So my SCV is about to finish. I'm going to hit S again, producing more SCVs. I see my Marines about to finish, hitting A. And you can just keep doing that back and forth, and you can get a feel for it of how to use hotkeys as a beginner in StarCraft. So by using mules, you're going to hit E, so you can constantly just do that. So AAA, 3-3, S, 1-1, 2-2, AAA, 3-3, S, 1-1, going back and forth between your hotkeys, as you can see, just like that. And it's a very, very, very simple process. And by doing this, you should be able to easily kind of keep your macro up, kind of keep your production up, and not slack behind in StarCraft 2. So I'm going to easily put all of these Marines in one control group by hitting Shift and then 1. So now they're all in a control group. Now I'm going to try something here and kind of give you the very, 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 very basic breakdown of what's important when playing StarCraft. 1, reinforcing your attacks or controlling your groups while keeping your production up by using hotkeys. So here I'm going to keep all my Marines on 1 hotkey. I have my barracks on 2 and my command center on 3. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make Marines, and every time the Marines come out of the barracks, I'm going to highlight them and put them in my control group here. Okay? And then I'm going to go back here to my SCVs and start making more units, or more SCVs, while constantly making supply depots and shift-clicking my SCVs on my mineral line. So I'm going to go 1-1, 2-2, AAA, 3-3, SCV, SCV for S, and back to 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, S, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 1-1, 2-2, 3, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2. Marines come out, highlight, shift, 1. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Now these Marines are in a control group so that when I control them, they start going together with the other Marines. And it's continuously repeat the process. So here, SCV, BS, 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 shift, right click. And all these SCVs will go back to start mining again. And constantly going back, like that, and just going back and forth, as you can see. And if you want to drop any kind of supplies, you can just hit X. I highly suggest don't do that unless you're supply blocked. So then 2-2 AA 3-3 SS 1-1 3-3. Highlight some SCVs. BS 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 BS. Right shift click. AA 2-2 3-3 AA or 1-1 2-2. Highlight shift 1. Move out. So kind of like that. If you do this process and you constantly just go quickly, you'll notice a big huge change. Now I'm gonna do this little process without even telling you what's going on now. And I'm going to show you how to just constantly keep things up. So in order to constantly keep things up, I'm going to show you a very simple process. So as you can see, if you get used to these very basic hotkeys, you'll notice a tremendous improvement in your gameplay. I can guarantee if you are a bronze player, you will go up about 2 ranks by using this very small tutorial and just getting used to these hotkey groups as Terran player. And this will keep your macro up and keep everything constantly flowing very smoothly for you. Okay. So I thank you guys for watching this tutorial, and if you have questions, feel free to put them in the forums. And if you like a tutorial like this and you want to see a more in-depth tutorial using maybe all units, then I can go ahead and do that as well. But by using these very basic tools, you can actually gain an understanding of how to use anything in StarCraft with hotkeys. So I highly suggest using that. First, start out with 3 control groups, like I just said, and you will go far in StarCraft. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.